This new change of the option to take away your direct property damage compensation will become law. Don't opt out of direct property damage coverage. And if you don't have enough coverage, your assets could be in jeopardy. In other words, people could go after your home.
The people are crying for lowering the auto insurance rate and governments are not able to do that. So how the system works basically?
Medical rehabilitation, most injuries are capped at $3,500 worth of rehabilitation, even though you pay for $65,000 worth.
And we have seen during the COVID also the record-breaking profits by insurance companies.
So we've got extreme lack of coverage, but we also have what I would say are record auto insurance company profits and record high premiums as well.
Lowering the auto insurance coverage, does that justify to lower the auto insurance rates?
Certain automobiles that are popular to be stolen to do more in their vehicles to make them more difficult to steal and easier to track. In 2020, auto insurers in Ontario, their profit $3.68 billion.
$100,000 car, $60,000 car, and 100 cars in a day. How the insurance rate will go down? Ontario ਦੇ one of the topmost lawyer firm ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਕੋਟਕ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਅ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੈਰਿਸਟਰ ਸੋਲਿਸਿਟਰ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਤੇ, ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਤੇ। ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇੰਨੀ ਹਾਈ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਰਕ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟਕ ਨਾਲ ਐਕਸਕਲੂਸਿਵ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ 'ਚ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਨਨੇਸ਼, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ।
Thank you so much for having me.
Nanesh, we'll be discussing about the auto insurance. So how the system works, why we have so many issues, and why for so many years, for the decades, whether is any party government is there, so why so far the people are crying for lowering the auto insurance rate and governments are not able to do that. So how the system works basically?
Right, Nathan. So let me start by sort of explaining how our compensation system works in Ontario. We have what's called really a two-tier system. There are no-fault benefits under what's called the statutory accident benefits schedule. And again, it provides very minimal support for those injured in car accidents. Income replacement benefits up to $400 a week. It's been stuck at that amount since around 1998. It hasn't gone up. Medical rehabilitation, most injuries are capped at $3,500 worth of rehabilitation, even though you pay for $65,000 worth. To get around that, you have to have either fractures or full tears of ligaments or severe psychological injuries. That's called a minor injury guideline. It was put in actually by the w.e.f government when they were in power around 2010. Our second component is really the lawsuit component, and that is establishing negligence on the part of the person who caused the car accident. Once you've done that, in order to get any money for pain and suffering, you have to prove that you have what's called permanent and serious impairments of an important bodily, mental, or psychological function. And even if you meet that what's called threshold, there is a almost $46,000 deductible to pain and suffering, and it goes up every year for inflation. Even for income loss, you're paid 70% of your gross, right, up to the date of the trial. So our system, in terms of coverage, has been eroded over the years, particularly during the w.e.f government, but it hasn't really improved since then. So we've got extreme lack of coverage, but we also have what I would say are record auto insurance company profits and record high premiums as well.
And we have seen during the COVID also the record-breaking profits by insurance companies.
Exactly. You know what? 2020, auto insurers in Ontario, their profit $3.68 billion. So FSRA, which is the regulatory authority that governs auto insurance really, and approves the premiums increases, etc., they mandate that the auto insurers should make a 5% profit per premiums earned. In 2020, it was over 27%, I believe 27.6%. In 2021, we're 23%. We don't have the data yet for 22, but I suspect it will be also high. But what the problem is, not only are they making record profits, premiums are going up. So between 2021 and 2023, the average Ontario premium went up by 12%. But we know in regions such as Brampton, Toronto, Mississauga, particularly Brampton, it's gone up. The premiums have actually gone up even more than that. So we're really left with a system, unfortunately, that deprives injured victims from proper compensation, profits insurance companies at a record rate, and sees the annual constant increase in premiums to no end.
So Nanesh, the lowering the auto insurance coverage, does that justify to lower the auto insurance rates?
You know, this is, in my opinion,
Yes.
what the insurance lobby tries to suggest, that we will stabilize premiums if you lower coverage, so then we'll have less payouts.
If I get a coverage of $100 and the companies are saying, okay, we will give you a coverage of $70, not the $100, but your premiums are still going up in the layman's language too, so that our viewers can understand that.
And this is the problem. So governments consistently lower coverage, and insurance companies continually get premium rate increases approved. So we have it's a really what I would call a very perverse system that is really one-sided. Now, what the insurance lobby has done recently is they've lobbied the provincial government to, okay, let's make more benefits that were there optional. So people could opt out of it. Maybe we stabilize premiums in that respect. One that's coming into effect in January of 2024 is the option to eliminate direct property damage coverage. In other words, let's say your vehicle is hit by a driver driving another vehicle and there's damage. Under the current system and the current way it is, well, your insurance will, you don't have to sue anybody for your property damage. Your insurance will cover that property damage for you. Now, they're tempting, particularly new drivers or those who are paying high premiums, well, hey, yeah, you know, maybe we can reduce your premium a little bit, or we won't increase your premium, but opt out of that. Say, I don't need that direct property damage coverage. So the problem with that, let's say you get, someone in that situation is hit, their car is damaged. What if it's a lease car? Now you're stuck on the lease, you're stuck on your finance to pay that.
So what is the benefit to the consumer on that? Okay, if my car is being hit and I am opting out to get a compensation from the insurance, so who will pay me then?
Nobody. And that's where there's absolutely no benefit to saying, well, I don't want that property damage coverage.
If I understand well, kind of an emergency insurance. Any visitor come to the country, they get an emergency insurance. And if they claim that, their insurance rates goes up because they say it's only for the emergency case. Same scenario, I think it's related to that.
Well, you know, and it shouldn't be. I'll tell you something. Right. Because, look, auto insurance in pretty well every province in Canada, let's talk about Ontario, is like a tax. You're going to have to pay. You have to have it. You have to pay those premiums.
Yes.
So at least it should be fair. We are required to have it, and justifiably so. You know, there should be fair compensation for accident victims. But it should be a fair system. It should be a fair compensation. It should be reasonable premiums. I think we are now, we've surpassed BC, I believe, to have the highest average premiums in the country. But our accident rates for population are not the highest. It's actually quite low because we have a higher population. So it's, again, very perverse and a one-sided system. And these optional benefits, so my advice is this: don't opt out of direct property damage coverage because you will need it if you're hit at no fault of your own. You should be covered. Next, there are some optional benefits that in fact you should buy, and they don't cost a lot of money. Get extra rehabilitation money, so there's more money available to you in case you're seriously hurt. It doesn't cost much. Increase your income replacement to buy the option to take it up to even $1,000 a week, assuming you make more money. It won't cost you that much. Another one very important, you know, keep more money of liability coverage. Right now, you know, most people have $1 million. You could even have $250,000, which wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. It doesn't cost much more to increase your liability coverage. Think about this scenario. Let's say you're driving and, you know, accidents happen. Let's say you're at fault and you hit a family of doctors and they're paralyzed or deceased. Can you imagine what the payout could potentially be because of their income loss? And if you don't have enough coverage, your assets could be in jeopardy. In other words, people could go after your home. So those don't cost very much. So, you know, and I don't know, sometimes, you know, there's like in any profession, there's good insurance brokers who know the product, and there's some who may not offer you that product. I don't know. But always, you know, make that inquiry from your broker. Okay, I want to keep my premium as low as possible, but there's certain things that I would like to make sure that I am covered for in case by chance I'm hurt or in case I actually hurt someone else in an accident.
So these changes which you told us that these changes by the Ontario government, these are suggested or this has become a law and coming in January?
This becoming law. So already, you know, we have reduction in benefits for, first of all, for accident victims. That's already there, and potential of buying optional benefits, that's there. This new change of the option to take away your direct property damage compensation will become law in January of 2024.
Okay.
It has passed, and it will become law. So just be aware of it when
So
your
that
policy
will be optional. That will be optional. If I opt for that, then only it will be implemented.
That's correct.
Okay.
So the best bet, in my view, to protect yourself in the event that your vehicle is damaged, keep what you have. Don't say, well, oh yeah, take that off. Because to save a few dollars on premium, and your car gets hit, I mean, you know, you'll be out of pocket trying to fix it. And a lot of people have finance vehicles. They have leased vehicles. So even if don't fix your car, you'll still have payments owed to third parties.
Yes.
Try to avoid that by making sure that you keep that coverage so your car actually gets repaired at no cost to you.
Nanesh, if any of our viewers, they have any question related to personal injury, because many of as the population grows, the accident rate has gone up. We have seen during the COVID also, the accident rates were there because we have the congestion here in Toronto. Anyone wants to reach you, your law firm, how can they do that?
Right, so first, I tell you, during COVID, accidents were way down.
Okay.
Premiums were still up, profits were there. So let's be clear on that. To reach us, look, kotaklaw.com, KOTAKLAW.com is the best way. You know, we have offices that actually throughout the country, and I think look us up, look at our reviews, and all our phone numbers there. We have a toll-free number, etc. All our numbers are there. So for sure, kotaklaw.com, and check out our website, check out our reviews. Our regional phone numbers there, as well as a toll-free number. We'll be happy to help.
So Nanesh, whatever you suggested us, so I can explain that in Punjabi to our viewers that Ontario सरकार ने कुछ changes, कुछ law बन रहा है जिहड़ा कि जनवरी 2024 चों आ जाएगा. So being a lawyer, being an expert, being one of the topmost lawyer here in Ontario, Nanesh Kotak law firm ਤੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ change ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਸ਼ਨ ਐਡ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਲੋ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਤੋਂ ਕਲੇਮ ਹੈ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿਜੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਇੱਕ ਆਪਸ਼ਨ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਐਡ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ. ਸੋ ਬੀ ਅਵੇਅਰ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਹਰ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਆਟੋ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ. ਅਗਰ ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਨਵਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਜਦ ਰੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਸ਼ਨ ਨਾ ਲਈਏ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਡੈਮੇਜ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਲੇਮ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਟ ਆਊਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ. ਅਗਰ ਕਰਤਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਤਾਂ ਲੋ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਬਟ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੂਗੇ. ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਲੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੀ ਚੋਰੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ. ਸੋ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਲੋ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਚੱਕਰ 'ਚ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਦੇਖੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਥਰਡ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਪੰਨੀਆਂ ਗਿਆ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੀ. ਸੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਰੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਨ ਵੇਲੇ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣਾ. ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਡਾਊਟ ਹੈ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟਕ ਲਾਅ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੀਚ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. Nanesh, the last question to you is like car jackings, car thefts. Insurance companies are paying them back.
Yeah.
So will we ever in Ontario, in Canada, will we ever to lower down our insurance rate because $100,000 car, $60,000 car and 100 cars in a day? How the insurance rate will go down?
You know, this is a major problem. And you know, my thoughts on this are a couple of things. One is enforcement. You know, we don't have enough checks of containers, obviously, that are leaving the ports in Montreal. We just don't have the manpower. I mean, we should have that. That would catch a lot of these vehicles that are leaving the country. The next is, and I see in Halton they're doing this. They're putting they're paying for the tags to be put in the cars, so air tags, so you can, you know, better tracking, obviously. And I think, in my opinion, there needs to be some incentive for dealers to, you know, certain automobiles that are popular to be stolen, to do more in their vehicles to make them more difficult to steal and easier to track. Because what happens, unfortunately, you know, the vehicle gets stolen, then the person may buy the same vehicle with the insurance money, and the cycle continues. So I think there are a couple of things. More enforcement at the ports, and I think also, you know, there's some ownership that needs to be taken by the manufacturers of vulnerable vehicles make their cars a little more or a lot more difficult to steal. So these are simple things that I think can be done, in addition, obviously, to law enforcement.
So responsibility lies on the law enforcement, to the government, to the manufacturers to make technology used so that we are above the criminals and we should be above them. And before we started this interview, I got a call that some of the seniors, their son car was stolen on a gunpoint in the grocery store, and the guy put a grocery in the car and it was a Range Rover, and that got stolen. So I said call police. They said we did, and police took the video, and the results will come after years and years, we don't know. So Nanesh, thank you very much for discussing all this important issue. In the end, if you want to say anything to our viewers.
No, it's my pleasure to again be on Prime Asia, and I hope you found this very informative. And if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to contact our law firm, kotaklaw.com, and we'll be happy to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nanesh. Thank you. ਸੋ ਆ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟੈਕ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਅ ਤੋਂ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਤੇ, ਕਾਰ ਜੈਕਿੰਗਸ ਤੇ, ਥੈਫਟ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਟੋ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟੈਕ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਅ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਅੱਛਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ।